Set in a dystopian future, the movie begins with a crowd of citizens gathering at the concert of Helen Aim and the Attackers, a rock band that toured nationally and has returned home in style. As their name suggests, the band's star is Helen Aim, the hottest singer of the moment, dazzling the ears of her fans with her powerful voice. Meanwhile, out on the streets, a group of rough-looking individuals appear. The Bombers, a gang of criminal bikers led by the feared Raven Shattuck. While the citizens enjoy the concert, the Bombers sneak in to scout out their next target, Helen, who is dancing on the stage, unaware that something terrible is about to happen. As soon as she finishes her song, Shattuck gives the order to storm the stage and abduct the singer, sowing chaos at the concert. Her manager and boyfriend, Billy Fish, tries to protect her, but a biker easily knocks him out. A young man named Clyde also tries to defend her, only to end up just like Billy. Thus, the Bombers seize Helen. Once they get on their motorcycles, Lester, the chief of police in Richmond, and his partner try to stop them in their patrol car, but they flip over, leaving Helen without any defenders, while her fans lament the incident, especially a young woman named Reva. Therefore, Reva sends a message to her older brother, Tom Cody, urging him to return to the city as soon as possible. He is a former soldier turned bounty hunter, and he does not hesitate to fulfill her request, arriving at a diner. Unfortunately, there is no time to catch up because a group of rookie gang members bursts into the place. Immediately, Tom takes action, repeatedly disarming the gang's leader just to humiliate him before knocking him out with a few slaps. As for the rest, he wards them off using a coat rack as a weapon, breaking several windows in the process. The gang members flee in terror, abandoning their convertible in the process. The protagonist keeps it for himself and invites his sister for a ride around the city. Right then, Lester begins chasing him for speeding. With many years behind him in the force, Lester remembers Tom quite well and all the trouble he caused in his youth. Nevertheless, Tom insists he has matured and will stay clean. Although Reva is happy her brother is back, she hasn't forgotten the reason she called him in the first place. Given the Bombers' savagery, even the police are afraid to confront them. Only someone like Tom has the means to save Helen. However, he refuses to do it, arguing that it is Billy's problem. Why does he sound like a jealous man, you may ask? Because he is. Helen is his ex, and their relationship did not end well. Looking for distractions, Tom goes to the local bar where his old friend Clyde works. As they catch up, a woman interrupts them, demanding a drink. Indignant, Clyde calls her a butch, to which she responds by punching him in the face. She then formally introduces herself to Tom. Her name is McCoy, and she is a former soldier like him. In the army, she worked on repairing anything with wheels, but due to the current situation in the city, she is struggling to find work as a mechanic. Tom lets her spend the night at his sister's apartment. Just spend the night, since McCoy makes it clear he is not her type. When bedtime comes, the protagonist has trouble sleeping after seeing a photo of Helen. Suddenly, he is overwhelmed by memories of her amazing way of taking over the stage, and also taking his heart. Overcome by remorse, he tells his sister that he has changed his mind and plans to rescue Helen. However, he remains a bounty hunter and asks her to contact Billy to talk business. The next day, after buying several weapons from an illegal dealer, Tom meets with Billy at his sister's diner. Billy, arrogant as can be, demands Tom be direct with his proposal. So Tom demands $10,000 to rescue Helen. On top of that, he wants Billy to join his team because Billy's the only one who knows the Battery, the district where Helen grew up, now under the Bombers' rule. Shortly after, McCoy joins the squad to bring the muscle Billy lacks. Once they venture into the dirty, dangerous streets of the Battery, they come across a homeless man who, seeing their weapons, realizes they are there to rescue Helen. He informs them she is being held captive at Torchy's, a seedy club run by the Bombers. Inside, Shattuck is trying to seduce Helen, which is quite difficult when the person you're wooing is tied to a bed against her will. Despite that, he assures her he is not evil. He just can't help himself when a woman catches his eye. She has to be his at any cost. Upon arriving at the outskirts of the club, Tom tells Billy to pick them up in a few minutes with the car, while he and McCoy handle the physical side of things. McCoy is the first to enter the club, attracting one of the Bombers, who gleefully escorts her to a private room for some fun. There, she subdues him with ease and takes his gun. She then bursts into Shattuck's private lounge, where he remains unfazed by her weapon, unlike his colleagues. Meanwhile, from a nearby rooftop, Tom spots Helen, who was fighting to free herself from her restraints. Filled with rage, he starts shooting at the gang members outside the club, setting their motorcycles on fire. Having done that, he exploits the chaos to break into Torchy's and free Helen with McCoy's help. Through punches, they fight their way to the exit, where Billy picks them up to escape. However, Tom decides to stay behind to destroy the remaining motorcycles so they cannot be pursued. After causing another massive explosion, Shattuck emerges from the flames with a sinister look. He may not be able to fight Tom now, but he promises to invade Richmond with an army and hunt him down, along with all his friends. In response, Tom states he will be waiting. Afterward, Tom rejoins his team, and they stop in a parking lot to catch their breath. At that moment, Helen tries to reconnect with her ex, thanking him for rescuing her from those thugs. Still bitter about their breakup, he tells her he only did it for the money, since he stopped caring about her long ago, specifically ever since she left him for her career. She retorts that he bears the blame too, since he left her for the army. In the end, they are both at fault and too proud to admit it. Later on, in a colorful bar, the squad bumps into a young fan of Helen who warns them that the police are looking for whoever caused the chaos in the battery. Just then, they notice a police car nearby. As a result, Tom hijacks the first bus he finds, belonging to the Sorrels, a band of up-and-coming musicians. While on the road, the Sorrels forget they were kidnapped as soon as they see Helen, one of their idols. They offer to be her backup musicians, which prompts a rude reaction from Billy, who says they do not need amateurs. Even so, Helen does not dismiss giving them a chance later on. At a deserted street, the bus breaks down, so McCoy gets to work. While they wait, Billy discovers that Helen and Tom used to be romantically involved. He warns the bounty hunter that only he can give Helen the life she deserves, befitting her fame. Tom quickly puts him in his place, stating the only reason he does not beat him up is because Billy would be too easy a rival. Once the bus is running again, the Sorrels sing a romantic tune that brings back memories for both Tom and Helen, who sneak glances at each other. Unfortunately, they face another obstacle in their path, a police roadblock. Most of them hide under the seats except for the Sorrels, their chauffeur McCoy, and their official manager Billy, who tries to bribe the officers. However, his anxiety betrays him, revealing he is hiding something. Before the officers can act, Tom bursts from hiding and points his gun at them. Not only that, he and McCoy shoot up the police cars so they cannot pursue them. After ditching the bus, the group continues their journey back to Richmond by metro. Inside the subway, McCoy complains that Helen has been too harsh on Tom, the guy who rescued her in the first place. That only serves to anger Helen further, and she decides to kiss Billy to make her ex jealous. At dawn, they finally return to Richmond and show up at the police station, where a crowd of civilians has already gathered to celebrate Helen's rescue. Instead of sharing their excitement, Billy grumbles that she was kidnapped in the first place for playing a free concert in his district, which he calls a rat hole. Although Helen disagrees with his words, she ignores her fans and gets ready to continue her national tour. Of course, she cannot leave without saying goodbye to Tom, telling him she hates him for rescuing her in exchange for money. In the next scene, Lester meets with Shattuck to negotiate peace. Well, sort of, because the biker promises to leave the city alone if Lester hands Tom over on a silver platter. Meanwhile, McCoy invites Tom out for some fun, noticing he has been feeling down since Helen left. He simply replies that he will give her her share of the $10,000 soon, something that angers the mechanic because she believed they had become friends. Seeing this, Reva reminds her brother she did not specifically call him home just to rescue Helen. That was just an excuse to give him an honorable purpose to fight for, not to mope over his broken heart. At that moment, Lester shows up at the diner to tell Tom about Shattuck's proposal. Not wanting to spark another war between the two sides that would spill innocent blood, he asked Tom to leave the city that very night. Consequently, Tom visits Billy to collect his $10,000, but he only keeps the portion meant for McCoy. Since he is there, he takes the opportunity to say goodbye to Helen, noting that years ago he would have done anything for her, but now he sees her as just another pretty face who cannot let him go. She asks him why he is punishing her so much. Unable to resist anymore, Tom kisses her. After making love, Helen is ready to join him on the road, giving up her career and national tour to rekindle the love they shared. With that in mind, Tom meets McCoy again, not only to give her the money he owes her and apologize for how he treated her, but also to ask one last favor. He then boards a train with his girlfriend, apparently leaving the city. At least that is what Helen thinks, until he knocks her out and leaves her in McCoy's care. He still has unfinished business in town. Shattuck. In the following scene, the criminal leader and a couple of his henchmen appear in Richmond to confront Tom, but are intercepted by Lester, who does not intend to keep his end of the bargain. Consequently, Shattuck summons all the bikers in his gang, forming a true army that easily overpowers the police. In a desperate attempt to fight them, Billy takes a punch. Just then, Tom appears, followed by local civilians who arrive with weapons to defend their home. Both sides witness the final showdown between Tom, people's hero, and Shattuck, the Green Goblin. After exchanging equal blows, their sledgehammers become locked in a tense contest of strength, which Tom manages to win. Rather than finishing off his rival, Tom casts his weapon aside. Shattuck, far from grateful for being spared, lunges at him with his bare fists. However, the bounty hunter turns the tables and unloads a brutal combo that leaves Shattuck in a sorry state. With their leader defeated and the locals threatening them, the bombers choose to retreat. Sometime after the fight, we see the Sorrels pumping up the crowd at one of Helen's concerts. Backstage, she reunites with Tom. Though it is obvious they still have feelings for each other, he acknowledges that they will never be on the same page. They each want very different things out of life. After one last kiss, Helen goes on stage to give her performance, while Tom watches her with admiration. With that, he sets off toward new adventures, accompanied by his friend McCoy, who once again warns him not to get his hopes up because she is not into him like that.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.